I've been pissy the last few days because I've wanted Rico Verhoeven to come over to MMA since that absolutely terrible boxing fight versus Usyk. Boxing is such an awful sport. It is abysmal to watch. The production is terrible. The actual sport itself is terrible. Nothing about boxing is good except the pay. So I know Rico's never going to come over to MMA, but it would be so good to watch and I'd really like to see it. So I looked into the UFC. And first off, this is what a successful company should be making profit-wise. 8 to 11%, usually it's 7 to 9%, but 8 to 11% because some tech-heavy industries are higher. Okay, but 8 to 11%. What do you think the profit margin that the UFC makes is? 57 fucking percent. 57% of the revenue that they bring in is profit directly into their pockets. That is not even accounting for the fact that about 12% of the revenue they bring in is owed to previous shareholders, Zuffa, and the old owners that didn't sell out of their shares. So in reality, if those didn't exist, you're closer to 70% profit. What the fuck? Why are we paying them pennies? We're like these, TKO, I guess it is. TKO is pocketing billions of, or not billions, they make like 1.5 billion a year. TKO's pocketing $1 billion of that. 500 mil goes into the actual operations of the UFC. When $1 billion goes into their pocket. What the fuck? There's genuinely no other successful business on earth that operates like this. No other sports league is anywhere similar to this. It would be literally impossible for any other sports league to have this kind of profit margin because every single other one of them guarantees their players, or their fighters in this case, 50% of the profits. So it's impossible to have a 50% or a 57% profit margin because 50% of it is already given to the fighters, guaranteed in their contracts. UFC, on the other hand, they're a new sports league. They were able to see the precedent that every other sports league in the history of professional sports has set with 50%, and they did 18 to 20% depending on the year. That is the percentage that they give to fighters. Not even half of percentage-wise what these other leagues give to their players. Could you imagine what would happen if we were able to double fighter pay? Whatever. Okay, even if 12 and 12 just becomes 20 and 20, something like that. Like, if you fight 3 times in a year, you make 60K. If you lose all 3, even if you go 2 and 1, bam, you've made 100K, get a bonus in there, 150K. Like, I don't think the bottom end of fighter pay needs that much attention done to it, but the top end sure does. The fact that we have the best kickboxer of all time in free agency, and we are offering him like 50 and 50 to fight Derek Lewis, that is fucking absurd. We need to be able to offer him more than that. Why can't we just, million flat, done. There you go. Win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. You get $1 million. Come fight Alex Pereira after his Cyril Gane fight. Why can we not compete with boxing in this? There's no way that boxing makes more money than MMA. I've never met an actual boxing fan. It's such an NPC sport. There's no way anyone sits down every weekend and watches boxing. It's fucking terrible. How do they have money? I don't understand. Why do these Saudi kings like boxing? I don't understand why we cannot compete with them. Even, like, okay, don't up it to 50. Be greedy, whatever. Up it to 35. Why can't we do 35? If these other leagues can do 50, why can we not do 35? That is the question that I have.